Good morning. It is 7 a.m. Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. The phone lines are open 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Sunny today, a little breezy. Highs in the mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecasting. Good morning, Mike. You know, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize off air is like just before we come on air, we're straightening collars and making sure the shine isn't there. So
But we're
literally
still
poor
doing
Pam
that.
on
Yeah.
director said, yeah, we are. I'm like straightening my clothes. She's like, you know, we're on in 2 seconds. You know, so sorry, Pam, to give you a heart attack. Good morning to
Fixing
you,
the
Mike.
hair, make it look all good. If you've ever watched a morning show, you notice how the anchors progressively get more beautiful as the day goes along. That's because they're actually putting on
Oh,
makeup during the commercial break. So by the time the show is over, full face looks great. Yeah, I know.
exactly.
That was the one thing I
It's the
noticed when
truth.
I
I have
worked
it
with you
right here,
back
right
in the
next
day.
to me.
Yeah, no, when I worked with
Yes,
you
we
back in the
did.
day,
Channel 7.
I'm the intern on set looking, and I'm like, wait a minute, why are they doing makeup now? Didn't we start 5 minutes ago? And then progressively more eyeshadow goes on, and then the all the
100%
lip
true.
liner goes on. So true, so true. So keep that in mind if you're ever watching. You say, oh wow, they look different by the end of the show. I wonder why. Now you know. It's also the coffee. The coffee helps too. Well, you might
True.
need that extra caffeine intake this morning, something to keep you warm because we're back to a chilly feel across New Jersey with temperatures that start off in the upper 30s and low 40s. There are some isolated areas, they like Newark of 48 degrees, but overall it's pretty chilly this morning. And with temperatures that will feel cool throughout the day, a little bit of a breeze at 7:01 starting our day on a chilly note. Anticipate temperatures to warm back into the 50s by this afternoon. The good news is we don't have to deal with that heavy amount of rain. I mean, it was stubborn yesterday, that rain that came down all throughout the afternoon and into the early evening. Now we just have a few clouds around from last night, but it made for a beautiful sunrise. Little shade of pink in there as that sun comes up right now at 7 o'clock. And with the clearing that'll be around today, feeling very pleasant. So nice and dry, no rainfall today. We warm into the 50s as soon as 11 a.m. and keep it mild thanks to that southwesterly breeze. Some places could touch 60 briefly inland over toward Trenton, down by Camden, and even over in Mount Holly. The shore points slightly cooler with a southerly breeze coming off of the water. But even through the overnight, I think most of New Jersey stays dry. That little bit of rain stays out to sea, keeping our forecast chilly and clear starting off our Wednesday. So tomorrow morning, cool but clear, and we stay partly sunny into the afternoon. We'll even go mostly sunny through the end of the day with temperatures holding in the upper 40s and low 50s. Get to do it all over again on Thursday, another dry day. So very pleasant weather ahead. That is until we get to Friday night. Notice the rain that moves into the picture later Friday evening, likely lingers going into Saturday and potentially into Sunday as those spotty showers will be around. Here's noon Sunday. You see widespread light showers around as this instability is kind of sitting nearby. Could even linger into Monday as well when the front finally pushes through Monday night. So enjoy these next few days of dry weather because it looks like we have another round of soggy conditions coming up for several days beginning this weekend. With nice and sunny conditions for tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, temperatures slowly make it back to around 60 degrees. We'll take it. And Friday's looking like the mildest of the next few days. We'll tell you more about that coming up with another check of your forecast. Gotta go do my cheeks here. Put some blush on, get a little rosy on a
L-
Tuesday morning.
Literally, we worked with you and I with a woman, let's just say her first name started with an L. And we had the option of having hair and makeup at Channel 7. And she said, no, I always just did a little powder because there's really not much you could do. You could try and it doesn't help. But for Lori, did I say that? I have to be careful now how I say the story. But this individual did not want hair and makeup. And she was beautiful. It didn't matter. But literally, if you tuned in, as you said, 4:30 a.m., it was one face. And she was stunning. It didn't matter. It didn't need makeup, and I mean that. But by the end of the show, you're right. It would be like 37 different versions later. It was amazing. So kind of funny that you tell that story. I'm laughing because it's so true. Mike, thank you
Mhm.
for sharing the inside baseball. All right, my friend, we'll check back in a little bit. It is so true, though. That's the way it is. The TV biz, it's like the lowest rung of entertainment. That's what we used to call it, TV news. That's what we are. We do have some problems down the road. We're sorry to waste your time with that. Let's take a look right now at the inbound GWB. this is a kind of a daily issue. But just to give you the heads up, and it differs from day to day. If you look at the right side of your screen, that is the upper level approach. Look at the upper level. It's moving pretty well at this for this time. The lower level, which is the left side, is heavy. So based on what we're looking at there at this point where that is, you're talking about probably a 15-minute ride on the upper level and probably closer to a 30-minute on the lower. So if you're heading into Manhattan, you might want to take the upper level approach. But of course, all of this is subject to change. Sometimes it changes in a matter of minutes. But at least you know for now, that's the way to go. We have a crash also reported as of just 10 minutes ago on the northbound Garden State Parkway, just north of exit 148, which is near the Essex tolls. It's by John F. Kennedy Drive North in Bloomfield. The right shoulder's blocked. So it's not a big deal, but nonetheless, you know, at this time of the morning, people brake check. We have a crash on Route 15 northbound south of Route 634 Main Street, Rockaway Township. The right shoulder is closed. And we have another crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound. Oh no, that is the same crash. They just reported it twice. My problem there. I'm sorry. We have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound north of Interchange 9, which is Route 18 in New Brunswick. All lanes are open, but there's a vehicle on the right shoulder causing some brake checking. And again, we have the problem on I-80 still. We could bring up that camera. This is east and westbound in Wharton. You could see this particular, they moved the camera, so it's a different view right there right now. So, but that is the normal I-80 cam that we talk about every day. They'll move it during the course of the morning. What is that? 15 lower? So this is by Route 15, exit 34, I-80 east and west closed. Everybody being detoured off in all directions, both directions. And we are told that sometime within a week, westbound will reopen to traffic. Eastbound stays closed another 6 to 8 weeks. So just beware of that. It is now 42 degrees, a little milder than it was at this point yesterday. And New Jersey Education Association President Sean Spiller will not qualify for public matching funds in his bid for the Democratic gubernatorial nomination, missing the $580,000 threshold. Excluded from debates, Spiller's campaign now leans to or on a union-funded super PAC. We can show the video of this, potentially spending $35 million to compete in the 6-candidate primary. Spiller has been polling second. He insists it's about people, not money, vowing to give working New Jerseyans a voice despite the odds. No candidate, by the way, has won a contested primary this way before. So got to see if he could be the person who breaks that. Former State Senator Ed Durr, the South Jersey truck driver who stunned the nation by unseating Senate President Steve Sweeney in 2021, is dropping his bid for the Republican nomination for governor, and instead he is endorsing Bill Spadea. Durr secured the signatures to qualify for the ballot, but could not raise the $580,000 needed for matching funds, and without matching funds, Durr would not have qualified to participate in the upcoming debates. The strong Trump supporter cited the need to unify the MAGA vote, criticizing rivals John Bramnick and Jack Ciattarelli as never-Trumpers. Durr vowed to help Spadea win and hinted at a future run, possibly against Senator Cory Booker next year. 7:08. President Donald Trump has named his former defense attorney and White House counselor Alina Habba as New Jersey's top federal prosecutor. Habba, who turns 41 tomorrow, replaces John Giordano, now tapped as U.S. ambassador to Namibia. A partner at a small law firm near Trump's Bedminster golf course, Habba defended the president in civil lawsuits and served as his legal spokesperson during the 2024 campaign. Here's what she had to say outside the White House yesterday.
As you know, I've stood by President Trump, his family, the organization, and many other clients in that state where I've been born and raised, and I'm raising my babies now. But there is corruption, there is injustice, and there is a heavy amount of crime right in Cory Booker's backyard and right under Governor Murphy, and that will stop. I look forward to working with Pam Bondi and with the Department of Justice and making sure that we further the president's agenda of putting America first, cleaning up mess, and going after the people that we should be going after, not the people that are falsely accused. That will stop in the great state of New Jersey starting now, because I think Cory Booker and Governor Murphy have failed the state of New Jersey. If you look at what happened in crime, what's going on in Newark, what's going on in Camden, this has been a neglected state. It is one of the most populated states for its size, and it needs to stop. We're going to do a bang-up job. I cannot wait. It's a great honor.
Well, Haba vows to work, as she said, with Attorney General Pam Bondi to push Trump's America First agenda and tackle crime in cities like Newark and Camden. And as you heard, criticizing Senator Cory Booker and Governor Phil Murphy. And it's just kind of cool to see how many New Jersey people are part of the administration. It is 7:10. Two campgrounds were evacuated and over 2,300 acres burned after the California branch wildfire broke out Saturday in Horton State Forest. That fire was fully contained as of yesterday, forcing the closure of Atzian and Goshen Pond campgrounds. Fueled by winds and drought, the blaze spotted near Raritan Avenue threatened nearby homes. The flames moved away from those homes. Chief Bill Donnelly of the New Jersey Forest Fire Service says that this is the state's fourth major wildfire this year, with severe drought raising concerns for the season ahead. The cause remains under investigation. 7-Eleven, there's been a lawsuit filed against the drivers of two vehicles that collided in Salem County last fall, launched by the family of the woman who was killed in that crash. The incident happened back on October 11th at an intersection in Pittsgrove. The family of 25-year-old Kayla Rose Dowling say the young mother died when the car in which she was a passenger collided with a dump truck. The driver of the dump truck allegedly ran a stop sign, causing the crash, but the victim's family filed a suit against both drivers. 7-Eleven, the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office says a body was recovered from the Hudson River in Hoboken over the weekend. The body was that of a man and was found on Sunday. Officials had to close Pier C to investigate. The body has not yet been identified. Meanwhile, similar story in Morris County, also on Sunday, also a body found in the Passaic River in Montville near Route 46. Morris County Police have not yet identified that body or given any other details, and anyone with information is asked to call the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. 7:12 now, in a move that has a lot of people scratching their heads. More than 1,000 16 and 17-year-old students from Newark, or Newark as it's pronounced locally, are now eligible to vote for school board members. Yeah, 16-year-olds get to vote on the people who determine their curriculum and other things about their lives. The April 15th election will be the first time the teens could vote for the candidates. The change comes after a statewide student-led campaign to give students a voice in an election that directly impacts them. Okay, so I thought the point of school was to educate kids so that they can grow up and be mature enough to make decisions later, not that they are mature enough at 16 to make decisions. And hell, if you're giving 16-year-olds a vote, why not 13-year-olds? Why not 12? Who says a 16-year-old is mature enough? We have certain standards. 18 is pretty much nationally considered the standard for a lot of things, 21 for other things. So why is New Jersey making the rule that now 16-year-olds can determine something as significant as the school board? So they're not ready to make such mature decisions now. So here's a question. If you are so keen on letting 16-year-olds do this, why not let teens vote on being able to drive at 14? Or let them decide whether they can legally smoke pot or drink when they're 13? How about this? So brilliant New Jersey liberal state lawmakers. What if these students surprise you and they vote to have school choice? Are you going to buckle like you always do to the liberal teachers unions in New Jersey, or will you let their vote count? In that case, it seems that liberal New Jersey lawmakers only let things like students who are 16 take a vote, or illegal aliens come in and vote if they think the vote's going to go in the favor of the liberals. The minute it doesn't, they shut their mouths or they move in the other direction. This is nothing more than a ploy from the libs to get teens to vote first in school board elections, then in local and state elections, then in federal elections, just like they did with illegal migrants, because liberals feel they can indoctrinate and propagandize kids in the very schools that they have controlled since the 1960s. This is about trying to win future elections for the left, folks. Make no bones about it. 7:14, a horrible crash in Camden County has left the driver of a car dead and 5 others hurt. 3 kids were among the injured. It happened Sunday in Winslow, a head-on collision between 2 vehicles. It happened at 3 in the afternoon on Sicklerville Road near Sheridan Drive. The deceased driver had 3 other people in the car, all of whom were not seriously hurt, but the driver of the other vehicle and that driver's 4 passengers were all taken to area hospitals. No one has been identified yet. No word on what caused the crash. A United Airlines 787 flying from Los Angeles to China had to turn around this weekend. Get this. It was discovered one of the pilots took off forgetting their passport. They get on the plane. Flight 198 departed LAX 2 p.m. Saturday with 270 passengers aboard and crew too. They headed northwest over the Pacific Ocean bound for Shanghai. 2 hours into the flight, the plane had to turn around and head back to San Francisco, where it landed about 5 p.m. A new crew took off about 9 p.m., landing in Shanghai 6 hours behind schedule. Make sure you have that passport with you. Don't you think if you're an international pilot, you carry it with you in your bag at all times? Just saying. 7:15 now. We have 42 degrees. When we come back, New Jersey politics like nobody else can talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about it. Depends. Plus, Mike says sunny today, a little breezy, highs mid to upper 50s, the full Garden State forecast when we return. You're watching On New Jersey Morning, stream daily on Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/On New Jersey. We're coming right back. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. It is 7:17, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, we're going to have a nice sunny day today. A little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has your Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. On this National Medal of Honor Day, if I had one to give you, I would. I'd pin it right on that.
Well, thank you, Ken. I would reciprocate the honor with a really decent forecast today. There's so much sun around. There's so much spring-like weather. There's so much pollen in the air. If you're an allergy sufferer, specifically for the early seasonal allergies, trees and grasses, you might not be doing so great today. I'm feeling it in the eyes this morning. Well, with plenty of clear weather, you may have slept with the windows open last night because you had that lovely breeze that was around, making it feel quite pleasant. This morning, plenty of cool air, warming to around 60 by this afternoon, even at the shoreline, thanks to that lovely breeze coming out of the south and southwest. So places like Toms River and Point Pleasant, usually you're a lot cooler on a day like today because the ocean temperature adjacent is only 42 degrees, and that tends to cool you down. Nuh-uh. You enjoy the upper 50s as well. Might even climb back into the 60s like in Mount Holly and Fort Dix, a little further inland with the lovely warming that'll take over today. But as I mentioned, the allergies, rough go of things, especially for tree allergy sufferers. We're back up to the moderate level. Weeds and grasses and molds nice and low, especially after all of that rain that we had yesterday. So we look out this morning at 7:18 with wind gusts that aren't all that impressive. They're rather light, but notice the general wind direction. Those arrows moving from the south and west, and even throughout this afternoon, wind gusts turn breezier. So once we get to this afternoon, say beyond the lunch hour, you'll notice those winds pick up a little bit and blow in from the south and southwest, aiding in that lovely mild air for the end of the day. Winds turn lighter by tomorrow, maybe again gusting upwards of 20 miles per hour, but it'll be another breezy finish to the day with temperatures tomorrow reaching yet again the upper 50s. And then finally for Friday, I think we'll see those winds relax, and that's where we'll enjoy a nice milder trend. A little bit of rain headed down to our south. You see it right here over Ohio. It takes a nosedive south of New Jersey and then swings up the coast, really clipping maybe Cape May, but most of the state stays dry. You'll see it here come up in the Futurecast with first those clouds, then a little shower there, and then it just zips out to sea. So most of New Jersey stays dry. 99% of the state is dry tonight. Looking into tomorrow afternoon, there's just enough instability to make for those dark-looking clouds in the sky in between the breaks of sun, any one of which could give us a quick 5-minute sprinkle, enough to dirty the car top, and then it moves on by. Beyond that, for Thursday, looking quite pleasant. with temperatures again up around 50 degrees, which is average, and then we cool it down for Friday with that next chance for steady rain that takes over on Friday afternoon. So throughout the day on Thursday, we look good. Friday morning, the clouds return, and then we likely have clouds most of the day with rain returning by the afternoon into the evening, and starting off kind of a wet trend for the weekend. I think this weekend looks rather wet, not soaking wet like the torrential downpours that it felt like were falling most of the day yesterday, but these light spotty sprinkles that'll be around with temperatures holding in the mid-50s through the afternoon. So with this weekend turning chilly, temperatures hold in the 50s, spotty sprinkles likely, maybe a break of sun, but overall more clouds than anything else as we look ahead to a little bit of a wet start to finish out the last weekend in March. We'll take a peek of the 7-day forecast, let you know what April has in store. That's coming up, Ken, in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Mike. Much appreciated, sir. The time is now 7:21, and we have a balmy 42 degrees at this hour. Let's take a look at traffic if we can. Right now, the approach to the GWB is once again ugly. You can see now a lot of traffic, a lot of volume, but it is at least moving. This is about 10 miles an hour, so that's not bad. And if you look at both the upper level approach, which is on the right side of your screen, and the lower level approach, well, now the upper level's hitting the brake. And the lower level, you can see they're both moving. Maybe the lower level's a little bit better at this point, but they're both coming in. That's a good sign. We have no incidents reported across the bridge, just volume at this point. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound, north of exit 148, which is John F. Kennedy Drive north in Bloomfield. The right shoulder is blocked, so that's not causing a major problem. Just a little brake check through that area. Crash on Route 15 northbound south of Main Street in Rockaway Township. The right shoulder is closed. We have a crash let's see, I'm sorry, not a crash. Delays on Route 23 southbound north of Reservoir Road to Old Ridge Road in West Milford Township. About a 20-minute delay. That's from an earlier crash that occurred there. And we have delays on the Jersey Turnpike outer roadway northbound, north of interchange 13A, which is the airport, to about 2 miles right now delayed. That's all due to volume. And again, that's on the New Jersey Turnpike. And we could take a look at I-80 once again. This is east and westbound through Wharton. This is exit 34, Route 15. The camera has moved. So you can see they're doing construction work there, but everybody's being detoured off. So if you look at the upper right of your screen, you could see the cars crawling. That's the local road. This is bypassing I-80. So that area, I-80, exit 34, Route 15, Wharton, closed in both directions, east and west. Westbound should reopen within a week, eastbound 6 to 8 weeks. So please plan accordingly. You're talking 30 to 60-minute delays in your trip if you would normally go through that area. It is now 42 degrees at 7:23. New Jersey race car driver Dylan Medler has been testing with his team in Italy in preparation for the Ferrari Challenge Europe Championship. On New Jersey's Lisa Marie Falvo recently spoke with the Formula One driver about his passion for the sport, but also just how challenging it can be.
Formula One is one of the most physically and mentally demanding sports in the world, with drivers pushing the limits at over 200 miles per hour. But what's the secret to staying sharp under pressure? We sat down with Dylan Medler, who shared how his mindset training has given him the competitive edge, and how his time in New Jersey and New York has played a role in his journey.
My biggest shift in mental resilience was really when I started racing in Europe this past year. It really stepped up my mental game. I was fighting against very, very strong contenders, some of the best GT3 drivers in the world. So there, I really had to bump up my mental game, and it really helped me all around. And that's pretty much what gave me the determination and motivation to come back and destroy all competition.
For Dylan, speed isn't just about skill, it's about state of mind. Working with Arturo Mesquite, he's learned how to stay calm, reset after setbacks, and stay locked in for every turn.
Since racing does require split decision making, Dr. Arturo has really helped me into not overthink my decisions. I do what my gut feels like, what I feel is going to be best for my career, especially best for the end goal of the race. So it's really made me make very successful choices, and it brings us to where we are now.
And with Formula One's growing presence in the United States, including races in Miami, Austin, and Las Vegas, the demand for the sport is bigger than ever. Could a New York, New Jersey Grand Prix be next?
I think it would make it such an amazing location for an F1 race to be held in New York. I heard there was rumors about it earlier, but it would be amazing for it to be a street race, especially the nightlife there. The city never sleeps. I think it would be such an amazing thing for New York, and it would bring so many people there.
While speed and precision define his career, Dylan credits his mental training and healthy mindset as the real key to success.
So yes, the nervous system is really where it all is. If it's all working together, you're in top performance. If it's not, you can have some little malfunctions in a sense. Mental game and the nervous system is such an important role in it. Once you start, you're never going to want to come back. It really helps you improve not only your profession, but your entire life.
Whether it's on the track or in life, a winning mindset is what sets the best apart. And as Formula One's popularity in the U.S. continues to grow, drivers like Dylan Medler are proving that success isn't just about speed, it's about mental strength. For ONNJ Jersey, I'm Lisa Marie Falbo.
Cool. How cool. A person wants to do it here in New Jersey. I think that'd be amazing. All right. Our time is 7:26, 42 degrees. The city of Minneapolis in good old Minnesota has agreed to pay $450,000 in attorney's fees for a pro-life group that was unconstitutionally barred from carrying out sidewalk counseling near a Planned Parenthood abortion mill in 2023. The payout comes after a judgment was entered in favor of Pro-Life Action Ministries in late 2024. The pro-lifers had sued the city in 2023 when they were banned from carrying out their sidewalk activism near a Planned Parenthood because of a 2022 city ordinance that had implemented so-called buffer zones around abortion mills to prevent pro-life demonstrations. This is what's amazing to me among liberals. Liberals are all about screaming about the right to protest, the right to free speech, except when it comes to the sacrament of abortion. In that case, shut your mouth. You don't have a right to even kneel and pray silently 200 feet away from an abortion clinic. How is this even remotely constitutional in the United States? And the fact that a local municipality would try to supersede the Constitution of the United States and say that you can't do something like speak to people a couple of hundred feet away from an abortion clinic, order them, not force them. Just say, hey, can I talk to you before you go in there? Just think about this. Give it a day, sleep on it before you go in and have that abortion. And if you still decide to do it, we'll leave you alone. But that was deemed illegal, and they arrested people for talking on a public sidewalk. They're trying to say that if somebody stopped you on that sidewalk and said, hey, we want to encourage you to have an abortion, those same people at that same location, perfectly legal. But someone saying, hey, we're praying for you, we hope you don't have that abortion, went to jail. Are you kidding me? This is the sick, twisted, contorted minds of the socialists in this country who've given up on their religion and instead replaced their religion with the sacrament of abortion. Because to them, that is sacrosanct and nothing is higher. That is what the Holy Eucharist is to Christians, and to abortionists and liberals, that is their sacrament. Abortion is the sacrament of the ultra left. Make no bones about that. That's an absolute fact, because you can't even bring up the topic without people saying, especially women who are on the left, saying, you have or they don't even want to discuss it. And by the way, yes, as a U.S. citizen, I have a right to talk about anything involving legality, whether it has to do with women, men, or something in between. I have that right to pass judgment and talk about the law. It is now 42 degrees at 7:29, and when we come back, a New Jersey race car, well, we just talked about that. Mike, when we come back, Mike says sunny today, a little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s, the full Garden State forecast when we return. And we're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. If you disagree with what I said, give us a call. We'll talk about it. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings, and we're coming right back. And a very good morning to you. It is 7:30, Tuesday, March 25th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato with the phone lines wide open, 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Sunny today, a little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Morning to you, Mr. Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning. We've got a much drier day today as compared to yesterday. I mean, it was soaking wet with the sideways rain coming in heavy at times. The good news today is that we'll enjoy lots of sun throughout the morning and this afternoon. A little bit of a breeze shaping up, but it'll feel refreshing, especially with the southwesterly breeze. You'll notice temperatures climb into the upper 50s and low 60s by day's end, especially away from the coasts. And it stays mild through Friday. That's the good news. The only problem with the forecast is that rain moves in just in time for the weekend, so it looks a little messy by then. Now, there's a very spring-like forecast in our offing because even though it's really warm down in the southwest, this is the jet stream, and anytime there's a big ridge here, it allows that warmer air to pump in from the south and west. Here in New Jersey, we have these cooler breezes coming in from Canada that also allow for those rain showers to kind of move in our direction, following this river of air high above our heads, giving us our threat of rain into the weekend. We don't really tap into that big warm air mass that's down here shown in yellow and orange. Now, we're kind of in the middle, and all these Easter colors here kind of fitting for the spring season, giving us that cooler feel today. Well, down along the shore points, it will feel lovely, even at the beaches, with the mid-50s on tap for you in Atlantic City, Ocean City, and Avalon, even down toward Cape May, 57 degrees. Inland, away from the coast, could even reach the low 60s, and that'll feel very nice from Camden and Glassboro, and even 61 in Millville. I know the icon says foggy, but with those winds picking up this afternoon, that'll mix up the air enough, allowing for any of that fog to dissipate. Today's high gets up to 51 on average. Normally we should be 54, so that's a nice bump in temperatures, and with highs that will be well above average into the next few days, we see those clouds clear out through the course of the morning. Made for a very pretty sunrise with the sun breaking out in between the clouds, those shades of pink and orange, beautiful, and it'll only clear more as we head into the afternoon. Rain chances, again, very low tonight as that system stays offshore. Maybe Cape May gets a little sprinkle. That's about it. But the rain chances increase every single day beginning Friday, starting off Friday at 10%, going to Saturday, then Sunday, and all the way up to Monday, 50%, as those rain shower chances bring in another round of wet weather each and every day starting on Friday. While the air quality is good today, air quality levels, when they're below 50, the air is refreshing. Remember, this doesn't include pollen. So the natural atmospheric pollutants, thankful from our trees, bringing back another round of another rough go for allergy sufferers today. There's that system that swings on by late tonight. Doesn't really impact in fact, most of the state. Then by tomorrow evening, a few clouds pass on through, and with it, might even get a few sprinkles going into Thursday afternoon. But it's Friday that our next chance of rain moves in, central and southern portions of the state. And this front here that stretches all the way back to the Midwest will just linger throughout the day on Saturday and Sunday, providing lots of clouds and some on and off showers beginning on Saturday and lasting throughout the weekend. So with the dry weather around for today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we get 4 straight days in a row of beautiful weather. It stays looking great. And then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, there's the rain that takes over, with temperatures holding in the 50s. I think there's a milder trend on the way just in time for April's arrival. 64 degrees. It'll feel very pleasant by then, 10 degrees above average. But until that time, we'll hold in the low 50s, even at the shore points, with a little bit of a cooler breeze thanks to that wind off of the water climbing into the low 50s only. Saturday could make it up to 60 down at the shore, and then we climb back to 60 as well for Monday, with those clouds and showers shaping up by the end of the weekend. So not a terrible looking weekend, but looking really gray and wet at times, given the fact that we have this lovely stretch to wrap up the last week in March, Ken.
Well, adios, March, and bring in
Yeah.
April showers and then May flowers. I'll take it all. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. 42 degrees now. It's 7:35, and we take a look right now at one of our cameras. This is on the Garden State Parkway. You're looking at the Garden State Parkway at Union Toll Plaza right now. You can see that there's just a little bit of volume. You see on the left side of your screen that's coming out of the tolls. Not too bad at all. Beautiful bright sunshine. I like to look at a happy moving image like that as opposed to all the congestion we usually end up showing on things like the approach to the GW Bridge, which even that is moving. It's heavy, but moving at this hour. We do have some problems a little further south of this point on the Garden State Parkway. There's a crash on the Parkway Express lanes northbound north of the Driscoll Bridge down in Woodbridge Township going toward the shore. The center lane is blocked. We have a crash on Route 17 northbound north of Franklin Avenue in Hasbrook Heights. Left lane is closed. And there is a crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound, north of exit 148, the JFK Drive, north in Bloomfield. The right shoulder is blocked. Not so bad. People are able to get through on the left side. And we also have that emergency construction on I-80, east and westbound. This is at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. The westbound lanes expected to reopen within a week, about 4 or 5 days from now, actually. Eastbound lanes, not for 6 to 8 weeks. If you look at the upper left of your screen, you could see the bumper-to-bumper traffic as people are detouring the roadway, which, of course, is plagued by those sinkholes. 7:36 right now is our time, 7:37 actually, and New Jersey Education Association President Sean Spiller will not qualify for public matching funds in his bid for the Democratic gubernatorial nomination, missing the threshold of $580,000. Take a look at Sean here. Excluded from the debates, Spiller's campaign now leans on a union-funded super PAC potentially spending $35 million to compete in the 6-candidate primary. Usually that is not the way it's done. Spiller is polling second in the polls. He insists it's not about money, but about people. He's vowing to give working New Jersey residents a voice despite the odds. No candidate has won a contested primary this way ever before in New Jersey history. 7:37, former state senator Ed Doer, the South Jersey truck driver who stunned the nation by unseating Senate President Steve Sweeney in 2021, is dropping his bid for the Republican nomination for governor. He will instead endorse Bill Spadea. Doer secured the signatures to qualify for the ballot, but could not raise the $580,000 needed to get the matching funds. Without the matching funds, Doer would not have qualified to participate in upcoming debates. The Trump supporter cited the need to unify the MAGA vote, criticizing rivals John Bramnick and Jack Ciattarelli as never-Trumpers. Doer vowed to help Spadea win, and he hinted at a future run, possibly against Senator Cory Booker next year. 7:38, President Trump has named his former defense attorney and White House counselor Alina Habba as New Jersey's top federal prosecutor. Habba turns 41 tomorrow, by the way. She replaces John Giordano, who is now tapped as U.S. ambassador to Namibia. A partner at a small law firm near Trump's Bedminster golf course, Habba defended the president in civil lawsuits and served as his legal spokesperson during the 2024 campaign. Here's what she had to say outside the White House yesterday.
As you know, I've stood by President Trump, his family, the organization, and many other clients in that state where I've been born and raised, and I'm raising my babies now. But there is corruption, there is injustice, and there is a heavy amount of crime right in Cory Booker's backyard and right under Governor Murphy, and that will stop. I look forward to working with Pam Bondi and with the Department of Justice and making sure that we further the president's agenda of putting America first, cleaning up mess, and going after the people that we should be going after, not the people that are falsely accused. That will stop in the great state of New Jersey starting now. Because I think Cory Booker and Governor Murphy have failed the state of New Jersey. If you look at what happened in crime, what's going on in Newark, what's going on in Camden, this has been a neglected state. It is one of the most populated states for its size, and it needs to stop. We're going to do a bang-up job. I cannot wait. It's a great honor.
Well, Habba vows to work with Attorney General Pam Bondi, as you heard, to push Trump's America First agenda and tackle crime in cities like Newark and Camden. As you heard, she was criticizing Senator Cory Booker and Governor Phil Murphy. Lots there to criticize. 7:42, campgrounds had to be evacuated. Over 2,300 acres burned after the California branch wildfire broke out Saturday in Wharton State Forest. The fire was fully contained as of yesterday, forcing the closure of Atzian and Goshen Pond campgrounds. Fueled by winds and drought, the blaze, spotted near Raritan Avenue, threatened nearby homes, though flames moved away from those homes. Chief Bill Donnelly of the New Jersey Forest Fire Service says this is the state's fourth major wildfire this year, with severe drought raising concerns for the season ahead. Mike's been talking about this severe drought for a while. The cause remains under investigation. They will keep an eye, though, out for any potential flare-ups and hotspots in the next few days. If you see the crews out there, that's the reason. But please, if you are in those forests for camping or any other reason, just beware. Any trees that have burned may be compromised, and with a little wind, they could come toppling down. So be very careful where you hike and where you set up your campground. 7:41, there's been a lawsuit filed against the drivers of two vehicles that collided in Salem County last fall, launched by the family of the woman who was killed in that crash. The incident happened back on October 11th at an intersection in Pittsgrove. The family of 25-year-old Kayla Rose Dowling say the young mother died when the car in which she was a passenger collided with a dump truck. The driver of the dump truck allegedly ran a stop sign, causing the crash, but the victim's family filed the lawsuit against both drivers. 7:41, the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office says a body was recovered from the Hudson River in Hoboken over the weekend. The body was that of a man and was found on Sunday. Officials closed Pier C to investigate, the body not yet identified. Meanwhile, similar circumstances up in Morris County, also on Sunday. Also a body found, this time in the Passaic River in Montville near Route 46. Morris County police have not yet identified that body or given any other details. Anyone with information in that case is asked to call the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. 7:42, in a move that has a lot of people scratching their heads, more than 1,000 16 and 17-year-old students. Yep, kids who don't even decide what to have for lunch. Mommy and daddy do that. Students from Newark. They're now eligible to vote for a school board member. Yes, the April 15th election will be the first time the teens could vote for the candidates ever in the history of New Jersey, or probably any other state for that reason, or for that matter. The change comes after a statewide student-led campaign to give students a voice in an election that directly impacts them. Okay, I thought the point of school was to educate kids so they could grow up and then make mature decisions later. They're not ready to make those mature decisions now. They're teenagers. So here's a question. If the brilliant libs in Trenton thought this was such a great idea, why not let teens vote on being able to drive at 14? Would you allow that to happen? Or let teens decide whether they could legally smoke or drink pot, maybe, grain alcohol at 14 or 15? Why not? You think they're old enough to make those decisions? Why can't they make that decision? Why can't they decide if they want to get married at 13? Why not? Why should parents have any say? Or how about this, you brilliant liberal New Jersey state lawmakers who think these things are such great ideas, never thinking things through? What if these students surprise you? And what if these 16-year-olds instead vote for school choice? Something that the liberals, it's like putting holy water on somebody who is imbued with Satan. Would you liberals buckle like you always do to the liberal teachers unions? Or would you let the students' vote count in that case? Methinks you probably wouldn't. In that case, you would say, oh, they're too young to know what's needed. Don't fool yourself, everybody. This is nothing more than a ploy from the libs to get teens to vote first in school board elections, then in local and state elections. It's a creep, then in federal elections, just like they did with illegal migrants, because liberals feel they can indoctrinate and propagandize kids in the very schools that they have controlled as hippies since the 1960s. This is about trying to win future elections for the left, folks. Make no bones about it. It is 42 degrees, 7:44. When we come back, big changes on the way for the well-known budget air carrier known as Spirit. Eric, the travel guy Hastings, will join us with all the details. It's going to be sunny today, a little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s, the full Garden State forecast when we return. You're watching On New Jersey Morning, stream daily on Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X. And now we're streamed live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ONNJersey. We're coming right back. 42 degrees now, 7:45. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. And it is going to be a sunny day today, a little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with full Garden State forecast for you. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. We've got a very pretty day ahead. Sunny weather, clear sky, a little spring-like feel. Maybe put that spring in your step. Happening outside today. Temperatures climbing to the upper 50s over toward Hackensack and Jersey City. Clear sky around. These morning clouds will be dissipating momentarily. And even over in the northwestern corner, Newton and Sussex also enjoying the upper 50s. Now we get several days of dry weather after quite a bit of rain yesterday. And while that yesterday rain doesn't show up in the drought monitor because this only updates once per week on Thursday mornings, I think we'll see a tremendous improvement, especially in southern New Jersey, which got walloped with a lot of rainfall yesterday. Northern sections of the state also picked up a little bit of wet weather, but I think with the percent of average rainfall above average there, toward Monmouth, Ocean County, even down toward Atlantic County and Burlington County, looking wetter. That's good news, especially for wildfire season, which began, allowing for the deficit to improve almost to zero in spots. There is still a deficit up in the northwestern corner of the state there toward Sussex and Morristown, but I think that'll improve over the next few days as we look into the end of March and the rain that comes in this weekend. Now, speaking of the end of March, we look forward to the beginning of April with slightly above average temperatures. Now, it's not going to be the big time heat that extends all the way down through Texas and the West, but with the improvement in warmer weather that'll be arriving just in time for April, it also comes with the slightly above average chance of rain. So there's our scale here on the top right. We might be a little bit wetter than average to start off the month of April. Fitting, given that that's what usually happens in spring with those April showers. With temperatures that stay around average into the 50s each and every day for the rest of the week, I don't think we have to worry about rain until Friday. So we get a nice dry period going forward. There could be a few sprinkles in there on Thursday, so if you're wondering, oh, it's a good day to wash the car. Yes. However, I think you might see a little bit of those pollen grains collect as the sprinkles come down on Thursday afternoon in spots. So if you're driving around, wouldn't want to waste the time and have the dots on the windshield, thanks to all of the pollen that's in the air. Saturday and Sunday allowing for a little bit of a cool down, but also the rain that comes back on Saturday lingers into Sunday. Better chances of wet weather, however, Sunday into Monday. I have the computer set at a 30% chance of rain to show the rain icon, so it's only 20% on Saturday, which is why you don't see the raindrops falling here. But there will be a good bet of light sprinkles around on Saturday throughout much of the state. So keep that in mind. Tuesday into Wednesday, again, brings back plenty of clear sky, dry through the rest of this week. Friday sees a chance of rain later on at night, increasing chances of wet weather through Sunday and Monday. So overall, Ken, we're looking good for the rest of this week. Just have to keep an eye on that wet weather for the weekend and maybe alter those weekend plans just a touch, because we're starting to get in the spring fever where everybody wants to get outside and do things. We've got the Tulip Festival coming up down in the central New Jersey. I can't remember the town offhand. It's by Jackson off 195. Got like millions of tulips there at the farm. So everybody's going to want to get out and do some stuff.
And I understand in South Jersey, they're going to have a three-lip festival, but that's more expensive to go to. Just saying. He's like thinking, shut up. That's such a bad dad. Stop it now. All right, dude. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it. Listen, before I forget, coming up, I think it starts April 4th, the cherry blossoms. The cherry blossoms.
That
Do you
too
know
in
that
Newark.
Branch Brook Park? Yep, and it's Newark and Belleville, because the mayor of
And
Belleville
Belleville.
always make sure it's, because Branch Brook Park is right in the middle of both
Right.
towns, both the city of Newark and Belleville. Do you know that there are more cherry blossoms at Branch Brook Park than there are in Washington, D.C.?
It's
A
a
lot of people
fun
don't know
fact that I think when people realize that, they're like, wow, why does DC get all of the attention when right here in our home state, we take the prize for the most? Yeah.
Now, granted, I mean, look, DC has the vistas of the beautiful national buildings. Don't get me wrong. You have the cherry blossoms laid out on the boulevards. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. And you have to take the trip to DC and see that. But if you just want to go free on a weekend, go down to Branch Brook Park, bring a picnic, lay out a blanket. It costs you zero. And you'll see, especially this coming weekend and the next weekend, you will see tens of thousands of people. But the cherry blossoms are overwhelmingly beautiful. It is just so pretty. Enjoy it. It's a treasure that New Jersey has. I go every single year. I have pictures from every year. And in fact, we're going to show video from last year next week. I promise I have video that I'm going to put on the air. It's great. Anyway, thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, sir. And we will talk about that in the days ahead. It is now 42 degrees at 7:50. We do some issues on the roadways. Let's take a look at this Garden State camera. Garden State Parkway. This is in the area of Union and Maplewood. You can see the left right of your screen is the Garden State Parkway, and the kind of the upper right to lower left is the local exit in Maplewood. And you could see that the local streets, this is just volume at this hour. We just thought this was a really cool cam. Whoever I like to picture that there's a 92-year-old guy at the top of that 200-foot tower holding the camera saying, "You got the shot? You got the shot yet?" God bless him for doing that for a living. Just my little thought, folks. We do have some issues other than that. We just thought that was a cool shot. We had to share that. Route 17, northbound, north of Franklin Avenue, Hasbrook Heights. 2 left lanes are closed, and that is north of Franklin Avenue, Route 17 in Hasbrook Heights. Garden State Parkway does have a crash on the express lanes northbound. We don't have a shot of it, or else we would have shown you. This is just north of the Driscoll Bridge in Woodbridge Township with a center lane blocked. That's always bad when you have a center lane crash. And we have an issue now still on I-80 east and west. This is Route 15, exit 34 in Wharton. This is going to be going on for quite a while. Different camera shots every time of this. But what's happening is everybody's being detoured off in both directions on one of the biggest and busiest interstates in the entire country, I-80, that connects New York to San Fran. And that's the problem in the northern New Jersey because of all the sinkholes we have from all the iron mines underneath. It's going to be about 5 to 7 more days before the westbound lanes reopen and 6 to 8 weeks before the eastbound lanes open. That's the mess that we have. All right, it is 7:52. Spirit Airlines, once the king of budget travel with its signature yellow planes. In fact, all full confessions, everybody who knows me knows I fly Spirit almost exclusively all the time. I'm on a Spirit airline plane probably every other week. They are making a bold move. They're rebranding themselves as a premium carrier after emerging from bankruptcy. Everybody said when they went into bankruptcy that was the end of Spirit, and I told everyone no, because I see the crowds coming to Spirit. They just had to tweak the way they manage, and that looks like they've done that. Now, can this low-cost icon really soar into the luxury lane? Somebody knows. Eric the Travel Guy Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com. That's Eric with a K. Here to break it all down for us. Good morning, Eric. Good to have you on this morning.
Good morning, Ken. It's nice to be here once again. I am thrilled to be talking about Spirit Airlines.
I know your favorite topic. You and I differ on that because and Eric had a very good point. You told me a few weeks ago something I never thought. I fly Spirit between Newark, or Newark as they say locally, and South Florida, yes, to Fort Lauderdale. Yes. Fort Lauderdale's their hub. As you pointed out, you probably don't have problems there because if they have a breakdown of equipment, they're at a hub. You're at a hub, you get another piece of equipment. If you try flying Spirit to Las Vegas, you might have a different experience. That's very true. I acknowledge that. So the route that I fly from Newark to Fort Lauderdale, I kid you not, have never had a problem with Spirit. JetBlue, every time I fly, they cancel. So now they want to be synonymous, Spirit, with ultra low cost travel. They have been. They want to now change things. So tell us about this more affluent crowd they're trying to attract with their premium offerings.
Well, I don't mean to sound, whatever, Ken, but let's face it, maybe we should stop paying attention to what this hand is doing because Spirit has to say something. Okay, because Spirit is emerging from bankruptcy. What are they going to do? They're going to come out and say, we've emerged from bankruptcy. Well, they have to say something else. So they decided that this is going to be a track for them that they're going to take. And what's interesting to me is if you look at the history of Spirit Airlines, the mainline, the legacy carriers actually kind of changed the way they did business to accommodate the low-cost carriers like Spirit. And now you're watching Spirit start to act like the legacy carriers. And it's so crystal clear to me when you look at things like Spirit coming out and saying, we're going to bundle up. we're gonna bundle up the things that you love on these airplanes, folks. Okay, we're gonna bundle up your bag, your cocktail, your whatever it is, your seat selection, and you can have 4 different types of bundles to choose from. Oh my gosh, is that legendary or what? I may have had too much coffee, but it sounds awful familiar to what Delta does with their seating, to what American Airlines does with their seating, to what United Airlines does with their seating. Interesting with that bundling going on, Spirit. So I love Spirit. I don't have a problem with Spirit. As you pointed out, you know what I love most about Spirit, quite frankly, Ken, is stories
What's
like
that?
yours. People who fly Spirit often, just like, look at them. I mean, I can hear the rabble from the Southwest crowd from here. Okay? That's how annoyed they are about the whole check bag situation. Because remember, Southwest was one of the last remaining airlines to have free check bags. And guess what? In the blink of an eye, they can go, we are going to charge you for them. And let me tell you, the Southwest people are not happy. So I think I applaud Spirit for doing something because, look, it's just as easy for them to merge. They could just go out of business. They tried to merge twice, for heaven's sakes. But then they decided, you know what? We don't want to be with Frontier. We don't want to be in bed with JetBlue. We want to go ahead and put our foot forward. Now, here's the other great news. If Spirit decides to act more like a legacy carrier, that is going to open up the door. You watch, mark my words, watch for airlines like Breeze, watch for airlines like Avelo to come in with a marketing message saying, yeah, Spirit trying to act like the big guys. Come with us. We're really the low. You can stand in the back of the plane. We'll charge you $50. You watch. They will come out with new messaging that's going to attract that ultra low cost carrier passenger. That's my short answer.
Do you remember when? Well, that's a great answer, and all of that makes sense. Do you remember though when JetBlue first came out, and JetBlue's
Of
big
course.
push was they bought all Airbus A320s, and actually they didn't buy it. JetBlue only owned a few planes. They had private companies buy planes and lease them to JetBlue. So JetBlue didn't have the overhead of paying for all those planes. They were maintained by the other individual owners. People didn't realize that. It was sort of a conglomerate of a bunch of owners. And the other thing was because it was all Airbus A320s, you could maintain those planes easier because you only needed to train one mechanic and have one set of parts for all the planes. So that's how they were able to save a lot of money. Whereas Delta and all the others had like 10 different models of jet. JetBlue only had one. And that was part of their MO to save money. And Airbus A320s were significantly more fuel efficient than the older jets.
Well, and that again, that's back to the old Southwest model. You know, Southwest only flew the Boeing, what was it, 737 for quite some time.
The 737-200s specifically.
The maintenance, the flying public, the rest of us they would be stunned to learn things like we start talking about they have a base of operations there. That is a hub for that particular. What do you mean that's a base of operations? Okay, well, if it's a base, and sometimes it's a maintenance base. If it's a base, it means they have spare parts, spare planes, spare people standing around waiting to go to work that day. So that because that route is so incredibly important. Spirit, I can tell you from Newark to South Florida, those routes are very important to Spirit. But I think the biggest thing that we should take away today, because I know, Ken, you wanted to talk about food and travel, and you know that subject is near and dear. But I think what I would love for the viewers to do today is to realize the difference between a low-cost carrier and a legacy carrier. Realize that you can really categorize them into 2 different groups. Those are they. A low-cost carrier, or in Spirit's case, or say an Allegiant, an ultra low-cost carrier, whatever. They're in that camp. The legacy carriers over here, and that's the big 3, American, Delta, United. Then you have people like Alaska and Hawaii and whatever. But anyway, so you got that. What I want you to understand is that the similarities between these 2 types of airlines are, well, they're pretty normal, right? They fly on Bernoulli's principle. They have pilots. They have flight attendants. They have seats. They have a website. You can book tickets and get on it. And then they will, for the most part, take off and land. But the differences, the chasm of differences between these 2 types of airlines, the chasm is huge. And I'll give you one example before we leave this topic. How many aircraft, Ken, you probably actually know this. How many aircraft do you think are in the mainline American Airlines fleet? That doesn't include American Eagle. How many aircraft do you think? Do you know?
You
You
mean
might.
different types, different models of plane?
No, how many total number of aircraft does American Airlines fly today?
Oh, I'm going to say 5.
No. 938 actual aircraft make up the fleet of
You mean,
American Airlines.
oh, the whole fleet. I'm sorry, I
Fleet size.
misinterpreted what you were saying. I thought, okay,
Well, you're
yes.
very
So in
smart,
other
Ken.
words,
You
the
know what?
whole fleet is less than
Yeah,
1,000. That's fast, and that's for the whole world.
that's 938 planes. How many? What's the fleet size of Spirit?
I would probably tell you 200.
208. So look at United, 1,000 planes in their fleet versus Allegiant. I love Allegiant. You and I've talked about Allegiant a number of times. They fly on routes that I fly on quite a bit. 131 planes in their fleet.
Yeah.
And the reason I mention all of that is that you can go to allegiant.com, you can go to spirit.com, and it will look the same, right? Buy tickets and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Where they fly, how many times a day they fly there. That's where the devil is in the details. And that's where when you say, I don't know if I want to spend, double or in some cases triple to fly with American or United. And they've got low fares too, don't get me wrong. But sometimes it could be noticeably more expensive. Why would you do it? Well, because that low cost carrier may only have one flight a day or one flight every other day to the place you want to go, as opposed to American or Delta or United that might have 5 that day. There you go.
And in the event that they cancel that one flight, you are SOL, whereas the other companies could put you on a different flight. That's something important.
And you know where that's really, and here's the other thing that's so important to remember. Ken, if you and I are going on a wonderful holiday together out to Las Vegas, we're leaving on Thursday, you're leaving the show on Friday, we're going Thursday, we're excited, and we're flying Spirit, we go for 50 cents a piece, and they cancel our flight. They say, we get the problem, we'll go Friday. You and I, we don't care, we sleep in our own beds. Okay, fine. We get up, come to the airport on Friday. However, if we're over there at the MGM Grand at $275 a night with meals that we have to eat out and our screaming children begging for things every 5 minutes, and they delay that flight by 2 days, you can add $1,000 to your vacation easily.
Absolutely.
It's the return.
And a lot of unpleasantness. We have to cut it off here because we're at 8:03 here. But Eric, I'll tell you what, let's do the food segment next week because we could do
Next
half an
week.
hour on that. Yes,
I could be dead next week, Ken. I mean, really.
No, you won't.
This is
Listen, I'll buy you a defibrillator. His travel website is ericthetravelguy.com. That's Eric with a K, my dear friend. Thank you for joining us this morning. You know I love you like a brother from another mother. We'll check you again next week. We'll talk food. Thank you, pal. It is now 42 degrees, and when we come back, a special in Newark for women to talk about their health and wellness special event. Also, Mike says sunny today, a little breezy, highs mid to upper 50s. The full Garden State forecast when we return. Don't go away. Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines open at 888-658-0234. Sunny today, a little breezy, highs mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. That sun is looking nice. You'll probably see it on the traffic cameras with the sun glare this morning. Big, bright, beautiful sky ahead. And with that clearing through the afternoon sticks around, so our highs will climb well into the 40s. Right now, we're climbing into the upper 50s, even around 60 by the end of the day. Still chilly back over to Flemington, but even in Morristown, 45 degrees. We've warmed to 48 in Newark and warming even down the shore toward Long Branch at 46 degrees. Back in the Pine Barrens, 39. Chilly this morning in Millville and 42 in Medford. But we will see those temperatures warm nicely in through the end of the day. It does get a bit breezy by day's end. So 8:05 your time right now. Temperatures start off cool, but ultimately climb back into the upper 50s with a gusty breeze throughout the end of the day. And those gusts could be upwards of 20 or 25 miles per hour. Had some clouds stick around from last night, made for a very pretty sunrise with the clearing that's occurring. And that clearing sticks around through the rest of the day. So a nice sunny afternoon ahead with none of the torrential downpours that we had yesterday. Look at all that. A lovely southwesterly breeze. Look at the flow of the arrows pushing in a milder fetch of air. By this afternoon, we climb to up around 60, and it stays feeling fine over in Toms River, 58 degrees, even at 5 o'clock this evening. Notice the chance of a shower exists really only for Cape May tonight because most of this rain stays well offshore, so that's some great news, keeping it nice and dry again, with the additional potential for a quick sprinkle there throughout tomorrow afternoon. There's just some instability in the air, but overall I think it stays nice and dry through Friday, and then we clear it out for the end of the day. Friday night brings back the next chance of wet weather, and with that rain, the chances are pretty high going into Saturday and Sunday. You see a lot of clouds over not just New Jersey, but all of the Northeast, and that brings back our chance of rain again for Sunday and again into Monday. So there's several days of these light showers that will be around. Maybe another front pushes through Monday evening with a torrential downpour, but this is expected for spring, where you get several days in a row of beautiful dry weather, like tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, looking great, as highs hold in the 50s, even up near 60 by Friday, but the clouds increase by Friday, and then that rain comes in to start off the weekend and sticks around even through Monday. We'll talk more about that in detail with the weekend weather, Ken. That's coming up with your next weather update in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much. It is now 44 degrees and the time is 8:07. A check of Garden State traffic. We have some problems right now, big problems on the GWB approach. Normally we have some traffic at this time, but not like this. Let's take a look at this is the New Jersey Turnpike approach to the, wow, look at that. So that's very heavy. We're now told that that is up. A minute ago, that was literally stopped. So maybe the problem that they're reporting has been fixed. We're being told it's now a 45-minute trip into Manhattan. Apparently, earlier they were saying the upper level specifically was worse than the lower level, but again, we're told it's about a 45-minute trip into Manhattan. Just to give you an idea, the upper level is where that FedEx truck is on the right. On the left side, where the traffic is moving, is the lower level. So there might be that residual issue I'm telling you about with the upper level. So now you might want to go to the lower level. That is what we're being told. We have right to the folks over at I-80 still have that problem. East and westbound exit 34, which is Route 15 in Wharton, people being detoured off in both directions. So you could see, take a look at the I-80 cam if we could. This is in both directions, east and west, everybody being detoured off. You can see in the upper left of your screen how it's basically a crawl. On the lower right, not as bad. So I'm not sure. Let's see, the direction is probably based on the sun. The sun being on the lower right, they're coming at you, so that would be east, right? So they're going east. So the lower right would be eastbound, the upper side would be westbound. That's what you're seeing in terms of traffic. Did I get that right, Pam? See, Pam knows that area. See, I'm just basing it on the shadow. I was taught that by many a traffic reporter in the past. That's how you have to figure it out sometimes. But we're told that the westbound side is going to, the upper level there, that upper part is going to reopen in about 5 days. The other side, the eastbound side, not for 6 to 8 weeks. Our time now is 8:09. I just need a name. You could tell me in my ear the name. Spell. All right. All right, fine. We're playing. This is live TV. This is how we do it. 8:09 is our time. But this is a very, very important event that's happening. This is why we wanted to make sure we still got this on. I'll explain as we go along, so bear with me. This coming Saturday, March 29th, women from all walks of life are going to gather in Newark for a one-of-a-kind event. It's called Let's Talk Women's Health and Wellness. It's going to be a day packed with education, empowerment, and candid conversations about the issues that matter most to women's well-being. Inspired by two-time breast cancer survivor Deb Belfato, who was going to be joining us, but unfortunately all the traffic we're talking about, Deb is stuck in that traffic. So but we don't want to not promote the event. We have a bunch of other interviews lined up already between now and the end of the program. So I want to make sure we still promote the event. So it promises to be bold, vibrant, and unforgettable. So joining us now to talk about this very special event is a person who's a publicist. And Kathy, I don't have your last name. That's what I was trying so frantically to get. Kathy, tell us your
Yes,
last name live.
I'm Kathy Edelson Wolder, and I am the public relations lead on the advisory board for Let's Talk Women's Health and Wellness. Let me just shut the phone off.
We're doing it live. It's okay.
I think Deb has just walked in, but I don't know that you want to make a
Oh.
switch.
You could listen, bring her in. We'll do this together. We'll do this with both
Oh,
of you.
all right.
You
so
can be in there
just
and she can be in there. I want to promote this.
She says she's here. I don't know if she means she walked in the door, but if you give me 1 second, I'll look out the door. Okay.
All right. You know what? You take care of it. Let's go full screen while you take care of that, and we'll talk about this. So this is a very, and this is why I'm sorry that Deb is rushing. We're making a rush to do this. Traffic in New Jersey is miserable, so I totally get it, and you totally get it. But this is a very personal event for Deb Belfato. She is a 2-time breast cancer survivor, and that's why she wants to have this event in New York this coming weekend, and she wants to have women come together to discuss wellness. So here is Deb Belfato. By the way, I love your name for those who don't realize what your name means in Italian, and welcome, Deb. Deb Belfato. Fatto means what done or made, and bel means beautiful. So you are beautifully made. That's what that means in Italian, and you are beautifully made. It is a pleasure to have you on. And tell us what sparked the idea for Let's Talk Women's Health and Wellness, and why this is so close to your heart.
Oh my goodness. Do we call it a spark or an explosion or a brain burst? And thank you for saying well made. I appreciate that. So here's the spark. Here's how it all happened. Remarkably, after 35 years of being in a frame of mind where I was cancer free, after my first diagnosis in 1988, poof, during the pandemic, because, life was a little weird during the pandemic. I was extremely, extremely diligent about my checkups, my annual checkups. So I take myself down to University of Pennsylvania, where I was so fortunate to be treated in 1988. And I have a very weird day. I call it an off-kilter day. And I'm like, this day doesn't feel the way it usually feels. And I'm a believer in signals. I get strong messages, strong signals. So I get back to Penn Station in Newark. My husband picks me up and he goes, "So how was the day?" And I'm like, I don't know, kind of sucked. Wasn't good. It was just a really weird day. And the next morning I received a call, a muddled call. And I asked him he was working from home. And I'm like, listen to this message. And it essentially was telling me that I needed to come back because there was something suspicious going on. And as I mentioned, those signals really resonate with me. And I'm like, something's up. And 35 years later, I got a second breast cancer diagnosis, not a reoccurrence, never to be confused.
Only I have to cut to the quick because we're almost out of time already. So I want you to get the information and we have to go. So, and I'm sorry to do that to you, Deb. I want you back on before the weekend if we can get you back on because we need more time on this. You find out you have a second diagnosis and that sparks you to want to inform other women about their wellness. The website that you have talks about the day, learn, laugh, and cry. What can the attendees expect?
Everything and anything they deserve. They deserve resources. They deserve to be their own best advocate. We're going to give them the tools. We're going to give them sisterhood. We're going to give them love. We're going to give them up to the minute information. Sometimes topics that are a little hard to hear, but we presented in a setting that feels so good. This day is for and about women, and every woman is deserving of this day because they matter.
And women all too often care more about taking care of their kids, their husbands, their other significant others instead of themselves. I've heard this my whole life. Women in my family do that. They're like, when I get a chance, I'll go to the doc. No, you take care of yourself. You have to.
Do it.
Women are I don't mean to sound like I'm being prejudicial, but you are like genetically the caretakers. I know that someone would say, shut up, Ken. But it's true. You're like programmed to love and care for everyone else, and then you don't care for yourself. So listen, we're almost out of time here. I just want you to tell everybody the website. And if we can have you back tomorrow, can we do that? Because I want you to be able to tell the story at length. Give us the website right now, though, so people know about this event.
Let's talk wellwomen.org. It's your day. It's a day for and about women. So this stuff that tries to get ahead of us, we can get ahead of it. We can take charge. And we can be.
We're flat out. I want you back. Can you come back tomorrow?
What time?
Well, all right. We'll have Gerald, our executive producer, talk to you about it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I want you
Thank
back
you,
on.
Ken.
We will make time for you tomorrow because I need more time.
Ken, thank you.
All right. This is too important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
and I'm
you.
sorry you got stuck in traffic. I've been there 1,000 times.
Oh.
All right. The event is called Let's Talk Women's Health and Wellness. It'll be this Saturday, March 29th in Newark. Please check it out. Deb Alfato, thank you for being with us here. We will talk to you tomorrow. I promise you. Okay. Have a great day. It is now 8:17, 42 degrees. And we are going to come back talking about tax time. So don't go away. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. It is 8:18, sunny today, a little breezy, highs mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning to you. We've got a very pretty day on tap for New Jersey. Sunny, dry, balmy, and a little breezy by the end of the day. So we start off this morning with temperatures in the upper 40s, making their way into the upper 50s over there toward Long Branch and Point Pleasant. Even Toms River could be up near 60 degrees. It'll feel very pleasant throughout the afternoon. And with highs that'll reach the mid-50s there toward Roosevelt and New Brunswick, maybe flirting with 60. Lots of sun in our offing. The only problem with that is now that we're in the middle of allergy season, the tree pollen back to the moderate level thanks to those dry breezes today and the sunshine over the next few days. Weeds and grasses tend to be later on in the season, closer to May and June, and then molds. Well, we saw the spike yesterday with all of the wet weather. But we're dry today with wind gusts now at 819, less than 10, 15 miles per hour, but the winds gust later on this afternoon and could get gusting upwards of 25 miles per hour, maybe 26 over on LBI. It's a southerly and southwesterly breeze today and tomorrow that pushes in that milder fetch of air. So winds won't be as gusty tomorrow morning, but likely return to that 22 mile per hour mark throughout the afternoon, blowing in from the west, keeping it nice and dry and rather mild for tomorrow afternoon. Thursday also has a little bit more of the dry weather return, as it's our last day of clear sky, because even though it's dry most of the morning on Friday, the clouds quickly roll in and set the stage for a little bit of a wet weekend. So here's the next rain system that takes a dive down to our south, and I'll show you the jet stream coming up next, where the rainfall kind of follows that track, and it dives south of New Jersey tonight, keeping most of the state nice and dry. Maybe Cape May gets clipped with a little bit of that wet weather, and you'll see it pop up here over toward Atlantic County and Burlington County, and then swings out to sea. So again, most of the state stays dry tonight. We start off pretty tomorrow morning, clear, and then there's a chance of a sprinkle tomorrow afternoon as some of that wet weather creeps on by. Overall, our forecast is dry all day on Thursday, and then the clouds return for Friday, giving way to a little bit of that wet weather later on Friday night. So here's the last of the sunshine for Thursday afternoon. Clouds most of the day Friday. Rain returns Friday night. Saturday looks damp. I don't want to say a steady rain throughout the day, but there will be some on and off sprinkles and generally gray conditions. And then for Sunday, there's a better chance of rain widespread throughout the day that lingers into the end of the weekend. Even Monday looking a little wet. So while there's only a 20% chance of the wet weather on Saturday, which is why you don't see the raindrops coming down here, because I have the computer set to a 30% chance to show the rain, there will be a better chance of that wet weather sticking around for Sunday. And then with the showers lingering into Monday, it's a wet start as we finish out the month of March. We'll talk more about April's forecast coming up with the 7-day weather, Ken. That's with your next weather update in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. It is 44 degrees at 8:21. Imagine opening your mail to find a letter from the state of New Jersey, and it's not saying you've won something. Instead, it announces they want to come and examine your business books. Doesn't it just put a lump right in your stomach thinking about that right now? For many small business owners, whether you run a landscaping company, a restaurant, housekeeping, whatever, a restaurant, any labor-intensive operation, this can feel like a terrifying moment. What does it mean? What should you do? And how can you be prepared? I have just the guy to tell you. This is tax expert CPA E. Martin Davidoff, and he knows exactly what to do. Martin, good morning to you. Thanks for being on again, as always, this morning. Let's start with the basics. If your business gets a notice from New Jersey for a tax examination, what do you do first to get ahead of the process?
Well, first of all, read the notice and understand the deadlines. Talk to your accountant and also get a recommendation to a tax controversy specialist who specializes in doing audits. Your accountants are great family advisors, all right, but they don't necessarily know how to deal with all the ins and outs of examinations. So those are some of the first steps. And remember, you may get a notice from the New Jersey Division of Taxation, which is what we're going to be talking about today, or you may get a notice from the New Jersey Department of Labor. So there are two audit agencies out there that could get you.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. And let me just ask you this, which is more likely and more terrifying, getting a letter like that from the IRS or from New Jersey? Which happens more often, or is it pretty much equal?
Well, I believe in New Jersey, you're getting more notices from New Jersey for businesses because they're really taking a look at sales tax, and it's usually a more in-depth audit than you'll get from the Internal Revenue Service. And then the New Jersey Department of Labor, their goal is to turn every independent contractor into an employee and tax you on it. And in fact, that's been kind of a fight between representatives and the state for 30 years.
Unbelievable. Well, and of course, look, I know that New Jersey, pardon me, is in a perennial budget hole, and rather than handling the issue from the spending side, they just love to keep sucking in more money, thinking it's like, let's just give me more Band-Aids so I could patch the bleed, instead of, well, let's not cut the body to begin with. That's sort of the ongoing dichotomy and the fight forever, it seems, between businesses in New Jersey and the taxing agencies.
Interesting sidebar to New Jersey is always asking for money. Every year, New Jersey does not index their tax rates like the federal government. So every year, New Jersey is getting an extra $500 million through inflation because they don't index their rates. And sometimes inflation of 10% can increase somebody's taxes 20%, 25%. And that's one of the unfair things I've been fighting for years. But, I digress a little bit. But that's just a sidebar that New Jersey doesn't index their tax rates. And if they did, people would get basically not a hidden tax increase almost every year.
That's amazing. And of course, people forget. They think, oh, good, screw the business, let them pay. No, businesses pass it on to you. So if the business is paying that much more, they have to pass on. If it's a landscaping business, suddenly every time your landscaper comes, it's $170, $180 instead of $150 because they got to make up that money somehow. People who love to say tax the corporations, tax the businesses, they forget that means tax me. So now where do you think the cash payments come up more for businesses like landscaping and construction? Can they hide it? Do you find people trying to hire off the books employees as a result? And why does that all raise red flags?
Well, let me start with an overview of what New Jersey Division of Taxation is looking for. They're looking for sales tax. They're looking for unreported income. They're going to do a bank reconciliation, and they're going to look to see if you have books and records. And if you don't have books and records, like for example in a restaurant, they're going to do something called a mark-on. They're going to look at your purchases, see what you bought, and then they're going to figure a percentage on top of that. But in cash businesses, if you're paying people off the books, that's going to be problematic. You're not supposed to do that, and there are ways that you can even have people who don't have, who do not have legal immigration status, and you can pay them and give them W-2s still. So there's a lot of issues, but basically they're looking for sales tax in a few ways. Number one is, are you paying on all of your sales? Number two is, when you buy something, are you paying sales tax on what you buy? And if you're not, they're going to ask for something called a use tax. And the third thing is, when you're buying fixed assets, capital equipment, did you pay sales tax on that? And there are certain things that you can give exemptions for, like capital improvements, but you have to meet certain standards, and they're all discussed in the sales and use tax publication that the state of New Jersey has. What's taxable, what's not. It's called SNU number 1. That's a publication of the IRS. But they're just, it's a different audit than an IRS audit where they're looking for, did you have appropriate backup for your deductions? They're looking for primarily sales tax. If you have anybody off the books, they're going to look for payroll taxes. And even they have something called the litter tax for restaurants who generate paper. Are you paying? It's a very low tax, but are you paying the litter tax?
This is all daunting, but this is why you need to hire a professional. This is why you should not do your taxes by yourself for a few $100s, or maybe at most a few $1,000s on the high end. Hire a CPA and let a CPA do this for you so you don't find yourself caught off guard and get these terrifying letters in the mail. With just about a minute left, Martin, talk about the importance of making sure you keep perfect records. And now in the era where you have apps that that'll help you keep track of everything, it's almost inexcusable not to have records.
And that's the biggest problem we have when the records are incomplete and you have to try to prove, where your income was from. Was it New Jersey sales versus not New Jersey sales? Are they taxable? For example, there are certain things a landscaper does. Mowing a lawn is taxable. Doing new plants and shrubbery is taxable. But laying concrete on or building a deck would not be taxable. You got to get the form. It's an ST8 for capital improvements you have to get from your customer, and you have to produce them at audit saying these were exempt. So I would just keep good records of what you got.
All right, Martin, your insights are invaluable for business owners facing this situation. And we will, of course, be diving deeper into protecting your business when the state comes knocking. So next week, we'll talk more about it. This is that crunch time. Tax expert CPA E. Martin Davidoff. We call him Marty. You call him Mr. Davidoff, sir. Taking time during this busy season. Thank you so much. We love when you come on. Great advice.
Very, very, very nice to be here. And of course, everybody can call me Marty. Thank you. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marty. Take it easy, sir. It is 44 degrees right now, 8:29. When we come back, you want to get away for spring break, but scammers may be lurking to make your getaway miserable. We're going to talk to a tech expert on how you can be prepared. It's going to be sunny today, a little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s, the full Garden State forecast when we return, and we will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, and we're coming right back. Very good morning to you. 8:30. It is 44 degrees, Tuesday, March 25th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines are open at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sunny today, a little breezy. Highs in the mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a great day ahead after a soggy day yesterday. I mean, the rain was coming down at times, sideways, in fact, through most of the afternoon. Now we enjoy a dry day ahead with lots of sunshine this morning. We stay breezy this afternoon and turn mild into the 60s really throughout Friday. It stays mild into the rest of the week. But the trouble is the weekend looks a little wet with some spotty showers that are around, all following this jet stream, which is allowing for those showers and the wet weather to kind of nosedive into New Jersey, especially over the next few days. Now, with all of the mild weather down to the south and west, shown here in the yellow and orange, that's where that warm air will stay. But because of this little bend in the jet stream, the river of air that guides our weather systems high above our heads, it keeps us in this cooler pattern with these cooler shades of pink and purple, which are seasonably cool through the end of the week. But overall, it's not going to heat up all that much. We're not going to see the 70s at least until next week at the earliest. So for the rest of the day, over toward Manahawk and Egg Harbor City and Atlantic City, we'll stay in the mid 50s. Inland, however, looks nice, climbing into the low 60s with that sunny weather. Salem climbs to 61. With the pleasant weather that's around for the remainder of this week, we're holding just around average, if not slightly above. Picked up almost a half an inch of rainfall yesterday with that wet weather, thanks to the steady showers that were around. Some parts of New Jersey came even above that, with so much of the rainfall that lasted through the central and southern parts of the state. Well, now we enjoy the sunshine today. Some passing clouds to the north, but they dissipate by the afternoon, nice and dry through the next several days. Little chance of rain on Wednesday. That's late tonight into early tomorrow morning for southern New Jersey, but we're dry for Thursday. Chances of rain return for Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, with an increasing chance each and every day. I think there will be several days strung together of just cloudy, gray, cool conditions with some on and off showers. While the air quality level is good today, we'll enjoy that with that lovely breeze coming in from the south. It moves the air around, keeps the atmospheric pollutants at bay. There's our chance of some rain again for just extreme southern New Jersey, really Cape May and Atlantic City south for a few hours tonight. We're back to the sunshine all day tomorrow, maybe a few sprinkles off to the north, but beyond that, it's dry through Friday. And then this next weather system lingers with this warm front over the next few days, starting Friday, going into Saturday. You see that light rain there in northern New Jersey, which basically gives us our chances of showers throughout Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we're dry for the next several days with sunshine. Temperatures hold in the mid and upper 50s, back to near 60 by Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday sees that rain return by the end of the weekend, steadier throughout Monday. Might even have some heavier showers as a front pushes through, clearing us out by Monday afternoon. Even for the shore points, slightly cooler with high temperatures holding right at 50 degrees, and then milder this weekend. Saturday and Sunday, more clouds, and there's our rain chance by Monday. So day by day, I think we'll have some dry, sunny stretches after all that rainfall yesterday, and then the rain returns just in time for the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. But hey, Ken, rain needs those gardens to grow, the tulips and the daffodils to blossom, the crocuses. I've seen them pop up here on the lawns across New Jersey. They're very pretty, signs of spring all around us.
Yeah, there you go. You're such an optimist. There you go with the positivity. We appreciate you so much, though, Mike. We need a little positivity like that in the morning. It is 44 degrees at 8:34. Yes, sir. And a check of Garden State Parkway, Garden State traffic, excuse me, not Garden State Parkway. This is not the Garden State Parkway. That is the New Jersey Turnpike. On the approach to the George Washington Bridge, if you look on the right side of your screen, those trucks there, that is the upper level. On the left side is the lower level. They are both moving along at about 10 miles an hour. We're told that the inbound GWB right now is about 40 to 45 minutes, whether you take upper or lower. So that's not too bad. Doing it on a daily basis, you know that that's actually a good thing. At least it's moving, so you plan accordingly. We also have some issues on Route 42. This is a crash on Route 42 northbound at exit 12 Clements Road in Deptford Township. The right shoulder's blocked. That's causing massive delays of up to 5 miles. We have an overturned tractor trailer, 78 eastbound, exit 26, which is Rattlesnake Bridge Road in Bedminster Township. The right lane is now closed. We have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound, north of the Goethals Bridge exit in Elizabeth. All lanes are open, but there's a vehicle or vehicles on the right shoulder causing some brake checking. And if we could take a look at the I-80 cam, this is east and westbound I-80 exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. A different view from that camera right now. You can see how traffic is crawling along. That's going to be the case for at least the next few days westbound. The westbound side right now and eastbound are both closed. Westbound should reopen within a week. Eastbound not going to reopen for 6 to 8 weeks. It is 8:35. Spring break is just around the corner. And while you are planning the perfect getaway, scammers are plotting too, with artificial intelligence fueling a new wave of sophisticated travel fraud, from fake booking confirmations to AI-generated travel agencies and even deepfake customer service reps. Cyber criminals are stepping up their game to trick unsuspecting travelers out of their money and personal information. Here to help us navigate this high-tech minefield is Matthew Robinson, a tech expert and user experience or UX designer. Matthew, welcome to the show. Good to have you on today.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Matthew, we're talking about deep fakes and AI. I'm sure you're not, or I'm not alone. You probably have gotten this. I get the random phone calls where it sounds like a human being. Hey, how are you? Listen, we want to talk to you about such and such. And then there's a pause, and you ask a question, and then there's a dramatic pause, and then you realize you're talking to AI. It's creepy how it's everywhere today and how realistic it is. And if you are not savvy that it could be a computer, you can easily be fooled. So how is AI transforming so many industries?
So many industries. And I think that you hit it right on the head from the beginning. Like, it's truly about things that are inbound, things that are being imposters for real people or real experiences. One way to tell if something is artificial is, to your point, like that long pause after that initial query. And then also if it's unsolicited, if you're getting inbound calls that you did not ask for, and they're like forcing you to make a decision right there on the spot, like the sense of urgency also is a telltale sign. If you don't have a minute to think, if they say, this is the deal of a lifetime, give me your credit card and you'll have a great time. Those are ways to tell. One way to go get around that is to hang up and get the name of the company and then dial them directly. Don't give any information to them right there over the phone.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, because it's a computer in many cases, it doesn't care. It can be pushy. It doesn't get hurt if you hang up on it. It doesn't hurt if you yell at it. So that's the thing. These individuals who are creating these deep fakes and using AI to come after you. I guess the idea is, we'll make 1,000 phone calls a day. We're using internet protocol, so it's not costing us a penny. And if we get one buy out of it, okay, we made money. And otherwise, it's not costing us a penny. So I guess, is that really the impetus behind it?
Yeah, 100%. It's that, and then it'll also be they'll try many different means. Like, they'll have the telephone calls. They'll even also they're still doing the scam text messages, right? So if you get an inbound text message asking you to click on a link, it'll take you to an artificial website that looks legitimate. Once you land on that site, they'll try to get your payment information. One way to tell, first of all, you should never click any links that come through on a text message from a number that you are not familiar with, ever, whether it's travel related or not. If you do happen to click it and you land on a website that seems legitimate, a couple different ways can flag that for you. Always look at the URL. If it seems like it's coming from your airline, but the URL doesn't quite match, that's one surefire way to tell. You should always make sure that it's a secure website and you have your live icon in the corner too, which is great. And then also, even some of these AI generated imagery, right? Like, you can have pictures on a posting that look very, very real, but they are in fact not. One thing that you should always be doing is your own research. If you get a hotel deal or a vacation deal and the images look too good to be true, you need to sidestep and go do a Google search on your own and see how legitimate that location is. Also, social media is our best friend in this case. Go check on social and see other people that may have visited. You want to look at people's reels, people's photos, and then cross-reference that with what you may be being presented with on the website.
Yeah, Great advice. And from fake booking confirmations to entirely fabricated travel agencies, other than those red flags, are there any other red flags specifically for spring break trips that people should be looking out for? Because I know that the scammers know that this is the time when you get college kids. They just want to spend some money, go have fun with their friends. So they're willing to take advantage of a deal. So if you're talking to a college kid, give some advice right now on how to avoid being scammed.
Yeah, 100%. Especially for college kids, I think even offline is something that they really need to pay attention to as well when they're on the ground. If you're in these new cities, if you're in, even in, whether domestic or internationally, when people come up to you on the street, a street vendor, oh, I got this deal, give me $50 and I could, take you on a jet ski or whatever. Like there are opportunities that they'll make something sound very compelling in person and they'll try to pressure you in person. And whenever someone's pressuring you for cash only is a red flag, especially internationally. If they will prefer cash, but they typically have alternate means of payment. If someone is pressuring you for cash or to hand over your passport in the moment, it is definitely a red flag. And what I would say is for on the ground excursions or experiences, always go through your hotel, go through even credit cards have certain concierges. And so for college students, that's really important just to make sure that in person, you're also not being scammed.
So, Matthew, are you telling me that the phone call I got the other day that told me to go out and buy 72 gift cards for Joe's Home Theater, that was a scam?
I am afraid to tell you that that was a scam. Yes.
I'm making a joke, but that happens. Listen, my mother is 86. Her best friend just the other day was told she had to go to the bank, or not to go to the bank, go to the store and buy a bunch of gift cards. I'm like, how do people not know the gift card thing is always BS? It's never, ever legit, ever. It's always fake, but I guess the message they can get through. Now, AI, though, isn't just for the bad guys. How can travelers use that technology to be savvy and take advantage of verifying deals and stay safe while booking their getaways?
Yeah. So there are certain tools that that leverage AI to make your experience online much safer. So they have browser extensions that are AI based that you can install into your browser and kind of safeguard you when you are browsing the internet, not just for travel, but for shopping overall. So that can help for sure.
So I know Capital One is one of them. We could mention them. They're a big one. I see them a lot. But whenever whenever I've installed their web browser extension, my anti-virus software kicks in and says, because it's constantly feeding everything you put in your browser to Capital One because it's going to be looking for a discount. But just to make people aware of that, it's always going to be feeding whatever you input, ostensibly to help you find a better deal, but also I'm sure they're gathering information on you so that they will share with their potential sponsors. Oh, this guy's always looking for this. Maybe you want to solicit it. Does that happen?
It can, but that's when you get into more like cookie and your personal browser privacy settings that you have. There are ways to circumvent those things. But yes, they do have to collect some data. Most of these organizations have to collect some data in order to provide you with the best recommendations.
Matthew, you're awesome. How could people get more information? What's a website to get more info?
Oh, absolutely. You can go to my personal website and portfolio, mattvandrick.com, MATTVANDRICK.com, and also Matt Vandrick on all social media channels.
Matthew Robinson, it is so cool to have you on. Tech expert and user experience designer. I never realized that UX, I didn't know what the title was. Now I know. It is very good to have you on. Please come back again. Great information, and we appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you. Have a great day. It is 44 degrees now, 8:44. What great advice. Athletes, families, and advocates to bring awareness to autism gather for a special annual event at Kean University. We're going to have the details. It's going to be sunny today, a little breezy, highs in the mid to upper 50s, the full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta when we come back. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, stream daily on Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We're coming right back. 44 degrees. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday, 8:45. We're going to have sunshine today, a little breezy, really nice. Highs in the mid to upper 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast for you. Mike, if I could, I would get my little stickers of gold stars and put that on your report card for this forecast.
Aw, thank you. The weekend, though, gets a big F. Failing grade for the Saturday and Sunday. Hey, some people like the cloudy, rainy days, and that's good. Me, personally, I'd like a little sun on a weekend, especially when you've got outdoor plans. But with the weather today, that looks pretty fantastic. Maybe take that stroll outside this afternoon to enjoy those balmy breezes there along the Hudson at the waterfront there in Jersey City. 57 is your high. Hackensack climbs to 57, mostly sunny for you. And we keep it clear from Hackettstown back over toward Washington Township today. With the dry weather that we've seen, keeping the drought monitor at extreme there in red in southern New Jersey, we'll see a big improvement next week. The drought monitor updates every Thursday late morning. And even with the dry, just non-drought conditions in central New Jersey, thanks to all of the rainfall that's happened just in the last 30 days alone. Still a bit of a severe drought up in northern New Jersey there in Sussex County, where a lot of our reservoirs sit for drinking water. So important to note, going into spring, we still could use some more rain, even though we saw a lot of rainfall yesterday. The last 30 days has seen above average rainfall shown in green, below average by a lot, even in the northern section of the state. But with the improvement in the drought in central and southern New Jersey, still got to work on this northwestern corner, up to an inch of a deficit of rain just in the last 30 days alone. As we head into the first week of April, warmer than average conditions are expected, not just for New Jersey, but for most of the country. Looking at you, Florida, nice and warm going into the first week of April. And then back into New Jersey throughout the beginning of the month, likely see a better than average chance of rainfall. This doesn't mean we'll see higher rainfall amounts. Could be a few light rainy days kind of strung together, as is the case in early April. We get a few days of dry weather strung together here throughout tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, looking great even into the first part of the weekend. That is until Saturday, when some showers will be around throughout the day, light and spotty in nature, but increasing shower chances for Sunday and Monday. That goes for you at the shore too. Really, nobody can escape that rain this weekend after a nice stretch of dry weather, temperatures in the 50s. Kind of do the same thing each and every day with a improvement until Friday afternoon when the clouds come in, and then the rain chances increase throughout Saturday, Sunday, and even through Monday with that wet weather on tap to start off next week and to finish off the month of March. So looking like April might be a little bit milder than average, and we'll take it. We'd like some warmth around here, right? After a few chilly days that we had over the last few afternoons.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much. I'm with you. Give me the warmth any old day. It is
That's
now
right.
44 degrees, sir. Enjoy your day. We'll catch you in the morning. 44 degrees now at 8:48. And let's check the Garden State traffic right now. This is outside of Newark. This is the New Jersey Turnpike by exit 15E, the Eastern Spur. And you can see this traffic right now. This is going in toward a toll plaza near, or an exchange rather. That's, I'm sorry, not a toll plaza. That's the interchange 15E approach, which is by the city of Newark. So you could see what this is like at this hour. A lot of that is just volume. We don't have any accidents reported, but just to be aware that it's pretty much down to 5 or under miles per hour at this hour. We have a crash on Route 42, northbound exit 12, which is Clements Bridge Road in Deptford Township. The right shoulder is closed with about a 10-minute delay. Overturned tractor trailer 78 eastbound by Rattlesnake Bridge Road in Bedminster Township. A right lane is closed. And we have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound at interchange 13, which is the Goffles Bridge in Elizabeth. All lanes are open, but vehicles are on the right shoulder. Finally, if we could take a look at the I-80 cam one last time this morning. This is I-80 east and westbound through exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. You can see things are starting to move down on the lower part of the screen. On the upper part, though, in the opposite direction, you can see things are stopped. This construction, emergency construction of the sinkhole repair will be going on for a while. Westbound should reopen in 5 days. Eastbound not for 6 to 8 weeks. 8:49 now. Connors Game, an annual event hosted by Kean University, set to take place Saturday, April 5th, bringing together athletes, families, and advocates to raise awareness for autism. Joining us now is Jay Scaramella, Associate Director of Athletics at Kean University, to tell us more about this meaningful day. Jay, thanks for being with us today. And let's start with the basics. Tell us what Connors Game is and how it came to be an annual tradition at Kean University.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you so much for having me. Right. Connor's game started in 2001 with our men's lacrosse program. Our former head coach, Shelly Shiners, came to me one day and said, hey, listen, I want to run a game for autism awareness, and told me his backstory and wanted to ask if I'd be okay with him naming it Connor's game. And I was like, yes, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for this opportunity. As a parent, we are a children's voice, especially with kids with autism. Connor at that age, he was nonverbal. He is more verbal now. So it kind of started off like that. And it started out as one game. And through the years, we tried to get it on a day that had many games or just another game. It just landed on the fact that we had a single men's lacrosse game. So this year, we have baseball. We have a doubleheader baseball game, doubleheader softball game, women's tennis, women's lacrosse, men's lacrosse, and a cross-country 5K. So we have a loaded day to support autism awareness in honor of my son, Connor. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have this day happen for him and for the parents and families of kids with autism.
Well, it is a very special thing. And autism awareness, of course, at the heart of Connor's game, as you're saying. And what does the event mean to you personally? Why do you think it's so important for the cane community to come together for the cause?
Well, this is truly a community effort with everyone being involved sports-wise. It starts from our president, Repillette, his staff at TUNU, our athletic director, Kelly Williams, and our administrative team. They support this. They allow this to happen. They promote this. This is a initiative that they're very proud to have on campus. As you heard, we have several coaches that are involved. And then more importantly, all of our student athletes are really, really into this game and supporting, myself, my family, Connor, and all the kids with special needs and autism. So for me to have our Kean University community, I was a former athlete here, so I've been working on campus, so just about 22 years now. So to have the support from the campus community in an entirety is something so special to me and my family. My wife Lauren and everyone in my family is so proud that Connor's honored for this one day, as April is Autism Awareness Month. But he gets honored for the day. We bring him out, we introduce him. And us and his school administration, where he goes to a school in Union called Deron. So we bring them out as well. So for our family, it's such a great honor just to be a part of this. And like I said, we have to be our children's voice. So this gives a good light on autism throughout the whole week. There's events. There's a couple other events that are going on. And, it's just our time to kind of just tell people what autism is about, bring Connor around. Some of the families come, some of his teachers and aides come. So, there's a lot of people that are in view, and we just get the word out there. And we get the word out about different programs that are around for kids and families with autism. So it's such a wonderful day, and it's so meaningful. Again, it's hard to put into words exactly the right words. And I try to think about it, but it's so touching. Especially to have my
and if I could jump in, only because we're down to about a minute here. If I could just jump in really fast, because I want to make sure we get some essential information on too. It's so important. I think a lot of those young athletes from the college may have never encountered somebody with autism, and it's so nice that they get to speak with and interact with people from autism and realize how perfect, and by the way, perfectly quote unquote normal and average so many autistic people are. This is such a great encounter experience. Walk us through what people can expect April 5th in our last minute here.
So we're going to have all of our games. Connor will be around. His school will be around. And there'll be other families with kids around. But we provided some opportunities to provide to purchase shirts for Connor's game. There's donations. We provided a link for the Deron Foundation. All of our funds for the games are going to go right to his school for families in need. And you're going to be able to see the teachers, the aides, just interact with them. get a understanding of exactly what they deal with. And like you said, our student athletes get to see hand on work with Connor.
Yeah.
He comes to school a lot, so they get to see what a kid with autism, how he interacts, how he deals with stuff. So they get a full hands-on experience when he comes around, and they'll get that especially on April 5th. But every day that I get to bring him around, so for them to see, some of them actually want to be in special in education. That's the career path they want to go.
Jay, we're down to 10 seconds, so I got to get in. How do
Yep.
people get involved? How do people get more information about it? What's the website?
So go to caneathletics.com. All information's on there. You can go to Cane Athletics Instagram, Cane Rec Instagram. Everything's on there for the games and for the donation page. So if they visit that, they'll be able to see everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, time has gotten the best of us. We're at the top of the hour, but so
Okay.
we're out of time. But the event is called Connor's Game. It is Saturday, April 5th, April being Autism Awareness Month. It's at Kane University. Associate Director of Athletics, Jay Scaramella. It's going to be a great day. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing all that
Appreciate you.
information about it. What a great day it's going to be. All the best.
Thank
to
you
God
so
bless.
much. Yep, appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. Absolutely. And that is on New Jersey Mornings. It is 8:57. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says, beautiful sunshine today. It's going to be a little bit breezy. Highs in the mid to upper 50s. Mike, though, tells us that by the weekend, we could have a little mixed bag, some clouds, some rain. So for now, enjoy the beautiful day that today is going to be. He said the air quality is good with the exception of pollen. A lot of pollen coming out right now. You could hear it in my voice, and a lot of people encountering that. So just beware to make sure you have those antihistamines handy or use those special nasal sprays. Talk to your doctor about that. It is Tuesday, March 25th. Thank you so much again for joining us. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, we stream daily on Roku, Fire TV, News on, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X. And we also stream live on Rumble and Twitch. All you have to do is go to twitch.tv/ONNJersey. That's all spelled out ONNEWJERSEY. If you like what you saw, tell your friends about us. If not, keep our little secret. We're going to catch you back here again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Until then, have a great week. Thanks for watching on New Jersey Mornings. Take care.